Yeah, go ahead, man. I'm sharing
Okay,
stuff
but
around.
like,
Go ahead and continue. We're talking about the characters in Watchmen being
yeah.
heroes, and I
So
said
you
there are
just said
no
that
heroes
comedian was
in
a
Watchmen.
government stooge, and I would say it's more the relationship's kind of in the reverse there. That comedian is a sociopath who uses a license from the government to do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah,
That's
I
That
agree
fair.
with
he's the one exploiting the government, not the other way around.
I can see it that way.
That's
Yeah.
deep, bro. That's deep. I would say that Night Owl, and it's even depicted in there, is impotent without his
Yeah.
superheroics. Now, does that make him a bad person? I don't know. I think it does in a way, a very important social way where people get off on their authoritarianism. And I think that goes for Silk Spectre and for Night Owl both. They both get off on Silk Spectre, if we're
Well,
going deep, still living in the shadow of her mother and still trying to stay relevant in a world where she is no longer relevant. And the way she does that is to go and beat up poor gang members in the streets. And then after that, she's all psyched up. She's hot. Let's go get it done, Night Owl. And they're
she was
both
willing to bang before they went and fought, though. I don't think it was like a
sure,
sexual
but
thing for her. But like, okay, so I guess you just have to make this like relative, right? Compared to the other characters in Watchmen, they are heads and shoulders above the rest of the cast as far as like moral righteousness. But
agreed.
compared to like actual superheroes from actual superhero continuities,
Yeah.
no, they're
No,
pretty.
no, all
Well,
of them are pretty
They're
bad.
more deviant than like your Spider Mans or your
They're
Batman.
they're the Punisher level kind of heroes.
And well, what started this was a Homelander. We brought up Homelander, and it's a completely different context that we're not going to mention. But talking about the boys, there are no heroes in the boys either. Even the good guys, quote unquote good guys, are terrible people
Yeah,
who have had
especially
Oh
terrible
yeah.
things happen to them. Yes.
especially Billy.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, they've had terrible things happen to them, but does that give them a pass? Does that give them an
Yeah.
excuse to do the things that they
That's
do?
a
And
good.
it's sort of balancing that out between the heroes, the quote unquote powered people who Homelander epitomizes. I have that power, so it's my right to use that power as I see fit.
Yeah.
It,
Well,
it sort of mirrors that,
the boys are good
which is the
examples
genius
of
of the boys.
characters that like I can understand their actions, even if I can't condone their actions.
Sure. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Anyway, this is the pre-show where we talk about what we're going to do on the show, and we're having a damn good pre-show. I'm glad we get to do this because you guys don't miss this compelling discussion about comic books. But it's all brought to you by, Spinwiz Comics, spinwizcomics.com. Also on iOS and Android. It's literally free comics, y'all. It's a comic and webcomic discovery platform for comic book readers. There's actually a book up there called Capable by a writer called Jonathan Hedrick that we will be talking about later on the show because he has a new book out this week that was amazing. So go up there and read that. That's from Scout Comics. I don't know if that book's from Scout. Anyway, it's called Capable. Yeah, it's about people with disabilities who get superpowers, and it's wonderful. But anyway, 86 different indie content creators, well over 400 titles now. Source Point Press, Tidal Wave, Marcosia, A Wave Blue World, Arcana, so many more. And it's all ad driven. It's all free. Go get it. I don't even know why you're still listening to the show. We already got a comment by Big Willie. Give me Homelanders and see what I do. Oh, your powers, dude. You would be the biggest villain. You would never wait in line. You would be a villain, but I would.
He's the biggest villain in the comment section right now.
He might be the only person in the comments.
He probably is.
It's kind of interesting. Like,
yeah,
I can think of more like characters that are like dark reflections of Superman than I can think of like good guys that are like parodies of Superman.
Well,
like you have like Hyperion is usually depicted as a bad guy. You have Homelander. You have that kid from Brightburn. And then there's all the ones that are like
every
in
other
DC continuity too, like Ultraman and whatnot.
Every other Superman in DC continuity is basically a bad guy or was at one point.
Yeah. Well, I guess that speaks to the idea that like
all of them.
Someone with like omnipotent, basically godlike powers.
Okay.
If they didn't have like a moral grounding like Superman does, they probably would be an asshole.
Yeah. They probably would be.
I would be.
Well, you're already an asshole, even without superpowers.
We got a great show planned. Yes, we have segment 1 where I have actual comics to talk about. It's a great story, and I have visual aids. Great news. I don't know if it's great. It's okay. Some food news, obviously, of course. This close to Thanksgiving, it's impossible not to.
It's a
Despite there
new
not,
Mountain Dew flavor. It's
no,
turkey
it's
and
not. No.
gravy.
That sounds
Yeah.
delicious. That sounds
No,
delicious.
that sounds like the
Jones
worst
Soda
thing
did
ever.
that, and it was not great.
Sounds delicious.
Of course it's not. That's a terrible idea.
We despite the fact that we didn't have any Transformers and or GI Joe comics, we do still have a moment of destruction that is comic book related. That's also despite the fact that we have no Adam Normal right now.
Adam is experiencing technical difficulties that are beyond his control at the moment.
That sucks.
It'd be nice if we could put like a box up for Adam and just have like one of those like
a standby.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Simpsons one where it's like the drunk cameraman or something.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll come back. He could just hop in on his phone.
He's not going to do that.
Ten of Swords, again, kind of freaking weird, dude. Kind of weird. But we're going to talk about that. And then top 3. I have so many honorable mentions. It was such a great week for comics.
It was a good week for comics.
What do we have going on, though? It's coming up next month at some point after the Thanksgiving holiday. We're going to be doing the Geekterion collection with Gremlins.
Gremlins, great.
TBD.
Great Christmas movie.
Top 5 graphic novels and trade paperbacks. Again, TBD. That will happen.
Eventually.
Man, the time really got away from me on that one, on scheduling that one.
Well, you said you were going to work on it this week, Gomer.
I did some communication, and everyone was like, nah, Thanksgiving week is not the best week.
Of course it's not.
Because the Comic Book Bully showed up for the Matrix Geekterion collection, which we did last week, which was wonderful. Such a great time. I don't know how well the Gremlins one is going to go over. We'll see. But also, I am doing a Friday night, this Friday, Black Friday, after Thanksgiving, a watch-along sort of thing for the movie. Oh, bye, Taylor. For the movie Rocky IV with the guys formerly of the Comic Cast podcast and special guest star, comic book writer Rylan Grant, talking about the Cold War era favorite, Rocky IV. Now,
give a little background as to how this thing actually came into being.
I'm not really sure, but at one point, Matt Boogie Bentley, co-host over there at the SMB Network, just search them out, SMB Network on YouTube. I think it's still SMB Network, or maybe it's Talkin' Vols Network now. I don't know. Look around, you'll find it. He was interviewing
quickly to YouTube.
Edward Hill. He was interviewing Brian Edward Hill, who is a comic book creator and writer. He's actually going to be writing the upcoming. Crap! It's an adaptation for a movie or TV show. Anyway, he was interviewing him, and I guess that was one of the questions. What's your favorite Rocky movie? And they started talking about Rocky. So then Boogie just made it a recurring question every time on Comic Cast that we had a guest. They would just ask him, "Hey, what's your favorite Rocky movie?" Sort of to break the ice. And Rylan Grant just went off on Rocky and how it was like, oh, it was this great movie and how awesome it is, and it just started this snowball thing. So yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while, even before earlier this year when we stopped doing Comic Casts. So yeah, that'll be fun this Friday at 7 Central Time.
I'm kind of curious. What is your guys' favorite Rocky movies?
Mine is the first one, and mine is the first one because it's just an awesome. The thing people miss about Rocky is a chick flick. It just happens to have some boxing in it. Rocky is a romance story about two people who just complete each other. And that's where the magic in that movie is for me. It's not in the fighting. It's not in the boxing. It's that at the end of the movie, he lost the fight, but he still won.
Like the heart of the first movie.
I'm starting to get emotional just thinking about it because honestly, I weep every time at the end of that movie. It's like a Pixar movie, man. I love it so much.
It's an underdog story, is what it is.
Yeah, the heart of the first movie is more about his personal struggle to like be taken seriously by a bunch of people who think he's just like a bum, a no good Nick.
Even himself.
You're a bum, Rock.
Well, that's my whole point. He didn't even believe in himself. It was his relationship with Adrian that gave him meaning in his life, and he was able to use that to, this is my only chance. I have to succeed. I have to, at least try. And yeah, man, there's so many lessons, and I just love. But although the fourth one, the one that we're going to be talking about, did end the Cold War, So
It did. Did you ever see the ESPN? Like they did like a 30 for 30 trailer where like they were treating like he really like it was a real thing that really
it's
happened.
so great. It's
Like,
so great. Who'd
I
have
knew that the
thought?
when I saw the representatives from the Kremlin clapping for Rocky, I knew the
Yeah.
Cold War was over.
Who'd have thought an unintelligible speech from a has-been boxer would have changed the world so much?
guys watching those
If I
beat
can
each other out
change,
here.
and
And I
you
liked,
can
like-
change, and we can change.
And they did the
It's
thing
so
where it was like,
stupid.
from a boxing standpoint, it was a terrible fight. There was
Yeah.
no defense. They were just like all haymakers.
Yeah. And then like they show a scene where they like sort of missed, that punch.
Yeah.
It's like
They
these
were
guys
throwing
the
so
air was
hard.
moving so fast.
Yeah.
Guys.
I really do have a soft spot for Rocky 4. I'm going to say my favorite one is actually Creed.
Oh, that's a good call.
I
That's
haven't
a very
seen,
good movie,
I haven't
dude.
seen that yet.
Very
It's really good.
Yeah. It's basically Rocky for like a newer age, but
Yeah.
instead of him trying to sort of get out from under his own mediocrity, he's trying to get under the shadow of a legend.
Yeah.
And it's such a deeper story, him going
Like a
out
lot of
on
it,
his
yeah, it's
own.
like finding out like who he is
Yes.
outside of being like Apollo Creed's son.
Yeah, and that's sort of the same thing that's going on in Rocky, him
Yeah.
trying to figure out who he is within a different context.
You could argue that Creed is the most direct spiritual successor to the first Rocky movie.
Without a doubt,
Yeah.
100%.
It becomes kind of a full circle where Rocky takes on the role of Mick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rocky becomes Obi-Wan Kenobi essentially without the bitterness.
Yeah. I did like sage mentor Rocky Balboa. That was a good turn for Sly.
But they did that like in the 5th Rocky movie, didn't they? Where it was like he trained
They did, but no one remembers that.
that one where
It was
Rocky
so
5 was Creed, but
Without
like
Creed.
bad and
It
not
was
memorable.
bad.
Yeah.
And then I haven't seen the one where they had like the computer simulation showing Rocky fighting like a current.
That was
Boxer.
Rocky Balboa. Yeah.
Okay,
I know.
I haven't seen that one, and I thought there was like one other one between it and Creed.
I
Let's get
don't
this-
think so.
I don't think so. Let's get this show on the road. Anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out for the pre-show. Stay tuned because we're going to continue right on to the regular show. Again, this has been brought to you by SpinWizComics.com. Check them out, SpinWizComics.com, obviously, as well as iOS and Android. I hope Adam shows up.
You like free comic books, kids?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. I hate this. It is revolting.
More?
Please.
Data, your Pee Wee Herman impression is pretty good.
Still my favorite. Probably.
That one really captures the essence of this show pretty well.
It does. I hope Adam Normal comes back. Greetings, geeks! Welcome back to another episode of This Geek in Comics Outright Geekeries Comic Book Shit Talk Show.
Shit Talk Show!
I am your
See,
co-host.
what do we even need Adam for? I mean, look what we got.
True.
Yeah.
You guys aren't going to understand half the shit I want to talk about, so you guys definitely aren't going to get excited about my visual aid in segment 1. Anyway, I am your co-host Gomer. With me, as always, co-host Taylor, co-host AK David. Taylor's permanent now, forever.
Yeah, apparently.
Awesome. Segment 1, we just talk about what we did this week. I rewatched Heavy Metal, the 1981 classic, and I had a hot water heater issue. It didn't flood anything, it didn't leak, but I had to move around a bunch of things in order to give the workman room to be able to get in there, tomorrow when he shows up. Anyway, I moved a long box that I had totally forgotten about. One summer, I told my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law, if you guys go to a yard sale and you find anything cool, pick it up. Well, they brought stacks and I just threw them in a long box. But here's the New Kids on the Block Comic Tour 1990 #1. Highly collectible.
That's worth
it does
some
get
money.
better. It does get better.
There really were too many comics in the 90s.
Here is a Batman number 357. I think it's probably in about 4.5, maybe 6. Shape.
Neil Adams cover.
That's first appearance of Jason Todd.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
I
had
said
that
wow
book.
too when I figured out what it was. Holy crap! So yeah, if
man.
there's nothing else in those stacks, it's a
That-
lot of Golden Age stuff like Casper and
Like anytime you get like a
Alfie.
bunch of random old comics, it's kind of like you're a prospector,
yeah,
sifting
digging
for
for
gold.
gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
One
Most
more,
of it's going to be dirt, but every now and then you
one
get
more
that
gem
sweet,
I
sweet
pulled
nugget.
out. Definitely a 5, maybe a 4.5. That is a Transformers number 4
of a 4-issue mini
of a
limited
4-issue
series.
miniseries that ended up going almost 80 issues.
Hmm.
So yeah,
That's pretty good. That's
some
pretty good to
gems
get
that-
to get some single digit issues.
yeah,
Those are some good gems, yeah.
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 Yeah, heavy metal. Yeah, it was some Tigo. Man, I was actually watching that with my kid, and he's over 18. It doesn't really matter, but it's still kind of, a little weird. But I was like, oh man, I forgot how many titties were in this movie.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of it.
Jason Todd and Killer Croc. Yes, exactly right. That's right. Jason Todd's really the big.
Well,
The
that's a
big
bit of
dog.
comic book trivia I did not realize that Killer
Yeah.
Croc and Jason Todd are the same premiere issue.
Dude, Jason Todd literally shows up. They're like at a circus, and he's like, "Oh, it's the Todds," and it's just 3 of them. And I mean, I read it. It's it's
Still,
whatever. It's good though. It's good. This Transformers number 4. I'm actually if you had a big Transformers fan, so happy to find that number 4 just hanging out in that box. So a lot of Masters of Kung Fu in there too. Those are really hot right now in terms of the resale market. I may just flip them. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, yeah, that was my week. What did you guys do this week? Anything exciting?
in anticipation of getting Miles Morales eventually, I've been replaying the Spider-Man PS4 game from a couple of years ago.
Oh, fun.
The part where you get towards the end game and there's like the Devil's Breath pandemic going on.
Ooh, a little too
And
close to home.
It's too real right now.
Yeah.
And like as Spider-Man, you go around like stopping all these like police goons who are like setting up checkpoints and rounding up civilians and everything. And they're definitely wrong to be doing that. Spider-Man should beat the crap out of these Sable thugs or whatever.
Yeah.
Really, these people should not be outside. Go for it, guys.
Yes.
Social distance. Come
Yeah.
on.
Hand out your mask. That's what Spider-Man should be doing.
Yeah, fictional New Yorkers. What the hell is wrong with you?
He
But
should be
either
going
way.
around. He should be going around web slinging everybody masks
Right on their
Whip,
face.
Whip, 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 whip.
What about you, Dave? What did you do, brother?
My phone bricked earlier in the week, and I went and got me a new phone. And
Boring.
I know that's about the most exciting thing that happened to me this week,
Boring.
other than getting the new D&D book,
Oh, the cauldron.
Josh's
the
of everything.
cauldron of
Nice.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Dope, dude. I heard it's
you made the
really
mistake
cool.
of mentioning D&D with me.
Oh, here we
I
go.
saw the Twilight Domain Cleric. That thing is off the hook.
A lot of people are saying that.
Like, it's the best healing class in the game for sure.
They're saying like it's broke, maybe.
It might be. I mean,
Well,
it's official
yeah.
source material, so
Well, the thing
That's
is
what I
a lot
heard.
of this stuff, a lot of the new subclasses that appear in this book were stuff that showed up in the Unearthed Arcana.
yeah, but like
So there must have been. I don't
I know a
remember
lot
the
of
Twilight.
DMs. I know a lot of DMs who do not allow Unearthed Arcana stuff in there because it's not official material, and they're right to do
Exactly.
so. I think
Yeah,
because a lot of that stuff is not play tested. But
Yeah.
that's something that's like broken as hell that made it into the official rule book now.
The thing I read a couple of things on it, but the main one that I read said they're doing this because they actually want to sell the books. The last couple of books they put out did not hit the
Yeah.
numbers that they wanted them to hit.
Well,
He was actually blaming coronavirus, and I'm like, well, that's a solid, thing. A lot of people aren't playing at least the same way that they used to. They don't want to complicate things that are already complicated. But he's saying that this book, because of that one thing, will most likely sell better.
if
then
you
I
only
will-
get 2 D&D supplement books, it should probably be this and Xanathar's Guide to Everything because
Yeah.
they actually add options for player creation
Yeah.
much more so than the others. One thing that this does is it collects a lot of the player creation stuff from previous books and puts them all into one spot. So if you're like me and you haven't been buying those other books, you can just get this book.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
A lot of those books are more geared towards a master anyway.
I don't buy a lot of campaign books. I think I mentioned before that
well,
we
this
always
is
do
definitely
that
not a
stuff.
campaign book. It's just it's a
Yeah.
source book. But I have heard it called, compared to Xanathar's Guide, that this is more inspirational than Xanathar's. Xanathar gives you a lot of stuff for technical, but this gives you a lot more stuff for inspiration. Those are some of the reviews I have heard about it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's fun. Awesome. Let's move on. to the actual news, since even though that's kind of newsy. Breaking news. Billionaire given props in Burbank. There's a Batman statue. DC Entertainment and the Burbank Hospitality Association, also known as Visit Burbank, have teamed for a new attraction spotlighting one of the publisher's most famous properties. A 7.5-foot statue of Batman based on Jim Lee's O2 design for Batman Hush story has been revealed in downtown Burbank. There you go. It weighs 600 pounds.
Woo.
That's cool, but
It is.
I wouldn't have associated Batman with Burbank.
No.
That's where their headquarters are now. That's where DC.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah. I don't like the idea of billionaires are not heroes, guys. Okay, let's get over it.
Dude, people like Batman. You just gotta
I know.
let this one go.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Just imagine Batman being covered in bird poop.
Imagine going to buy an eighth and Batman beats the shit out of you. Anyway, moving on. There's a new book called Avengers Mech Strike.
Oh, I thought this was gonna be your moment of destruction thing.
No. It might as well be. It feels.
I know
like
that it's not actually Transformers, but come on.
It feels like it. Writer Jed McKay and artist Carlos Magno take the Avengers into uncharted territory in a new comic this February. Heavy metal. When the Avengers come up against something that defies their usual methods, new tools are needed for the job. Giant robot suits.
All I can say is that Alexander Kukrinski did nothing wrong.
I mean, look, why?
Okay, that is dumb as shit.
Why?
But I'm kind of thinking I might get it.
My thing is, like, because this is Banner, like, over here in the lower left, right in front of the big green Hulk, right?
Yeah.
He's not the Hulk, so maybe everybody's depowered, and Tony's like, I got it. I've already planned for this.
I mean, one thing that's a kind of a bit of a stumbling block for them here is I very much doubt that Iron Man could throw together a mech suit that's stronger than the Hulk or stronger than Thor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If they don't all become a big giant thing at the end of it, it's a waste.
Yeah, if they don't become
I
a
hope
adult
so.
form.
They need to come. They need.
This is
they
the
need some
Avengers meet
combiner
Power
action.
Rangers.
They need some combiner action going on with
Yeah,
this.
dude,
All right.
gestalt shit going on. Now, Black Widow's already had a cool suit in something.
All right, Mech Warriors, it's time to get into your drop pods. We're making Planet Paul.
Yes, that is so stupid.
The mech thing is incredibly stupid, but like it looks like the fun kind of stupid. So
we'll see.
I'm non-committally saying I might check it out.
I think that's what they're going for. The fun kind of stupid. I'm on board too. I'm at least going to check out.
We got to get them kids. Them kids like Gundams. So we're going to do something like that.
Not anymore. The Gundam craze is long gone, man.
This is going to bring it back, baby.
No, that is not. Not in Japan. They're building like a 60-foot one that walks.
That's for old people, dude. That's for nostalgia. Anyway, moving on. The Endless Winter Checklist came out. I don't even know if you can see that, but this is a weekly 9-issue thing going on.
So basically War of the Realms for DC.
That really wasn't weekly. That was bi-weekly. That came out every
Well, the subject material is kind of reminiscent.
I'm not even sure. Here's the Justice League Endless Winter #1 kicks it all off December 1st. It's written by Andy Lanning and Ron Mars. It's pretty cool. Howard Porter and Marco Santucci are doing the art. Endless Winter Chapter 1. The crossover event of the season begins here. The Justice League encounters an extinction-level global storm brewing at the former site of the Fortress of Solitude. Enter the Frost King, a monster mad with power, with an army at his command. What devastating mystery lies in his past, and how does he tie to Queen Hippolyta, Swamp Thing, Viking Prince, and their reluctant ally Black Adam? Blah blah blah. I don't know, man.
Okay, so Justice League versus Rock Giants.
News.
Oh yeah, that was something that I read this week.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
Fuck off of that old people thing. Come on. Endless filler. Yeah, sure. Hey, why are you not here?
He's commenting. That's
right.
He's here in spirit.
So yeah, I don't know about Endless Winter. I just don't know, man.
I had not even heard of this until this week when I saw
Well, there
these
you
ads
go.
in the back of the DC comics.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I guess
actually,
I completely missed this one.
this is actually advertised in the back of Batman.
It's in the back of every DC book I read this
every
week.
DC
Yeah.
book this week has
That's
it.
the only DC with Batman and Rorschach, but those are the only two DC books I got this week. But it looked to me as just basically War of the Realms for DC. It's an event, so I'm probably going to steer clear of it.
First
It's
issue's
relatively
$5.
close proximity to War of the Realms. Isn't doing it any favors in that regard, but
Well, we'll see.
the Frost Giants weren't the main bad guys in that, but they were probably the most eye-catching.
Yeah, maybe. I liked War of the Realms because
I
the
liked
bad guy got everybody together. You know, no power at the house. Oh,
No power at the house.
Oh, look, it's Guardians of the. What is that? Oh,
Game of Thrones versus JLA.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess.
It might be that. I'm going to check out the first issue. Okay. I did want to mention this in the news. Fantastic Four number 26, wherein one Franklin Richards completely loses his identity. Taylor, you read this. Go ahead and speak to this.
All right. So in Fantastic Four, they have recently, in the last issue, established a quote-unquote forever gate at the site of the old Baxter building, and you can use it to go absolutely anywhere in the universe. So Franklin, who cannot use the Krakoa portals anymore, decides, hey, I can use this to go visit my pals on Krakoa. But Professor X, who apparently is always clued in to Franklin's mind, I guess, pops in to say, no, Franklin, you can't, because it turns out you're not only not a mutant now, you were never a mutant.
Yeah.
You know, dun, dun, dun.
He's saying that Franklin's cosmic powers subconsciously worked to make him special, quote unquote special, and that specialness equated to him being a mutant. This is one of two things. This is the same thing. Old people screwing with Franklin. It's either Reed Richards screwing with Franklin to keep him under control, or it's Professor Xavier screwing with Franklin to keep him under control. I would presume it's the former, that it's Dad, because this is not happening in an X-Men book.
I think Franklin you're being a bit of a dick to read, but
I'm not being a dick to read. What?
My theory right now
is a huge dick, especially to his kids.
You lay it on a little thick, but
I don't know about that, man. Did you
from
read
what I
Fantastic
understand
Four
about like the
X-Men?
X-Men versus Fantastic Four stuff that was currently going on? The whole reason they were at odds is because Franklin was a mutant. Now, if Franklin's not a mutant, then there's nothing to be at odds with.
So a couple of things, though. First, they have a backdoor get out of jail free thing here where that wasn't really Professor X. It was some sort of shenanigans or something like that. I don't know.
Sure.
But also worth pointing out,
someone else, a third party, manipulating Franklin.
Yeah,
is what you're saying. Sure, that's possible.
Maybe
that's possible.
That's an out they could take if they wanted, but. Yeah. What exactly is it that makes you a mutant then? Like, it seems kind of like a very narrow path you have to take to be considered a mutant. Just born with powers, I guess, is not enough.
It's like having blue eyes, right? It's got to be
a
genetic marker.
X gene, but I mean, he was undeniably born with, godlike cosmic powers.
So but that doesn't
mean but he's not a mutant.
Yeah.
According to what this page said, no, he's not.
Apparently. Well, like Forge. Forge's mutant power is to build stuff really well. Tony Stark builds stuff really well, but
that just makes him a really good tinkerer.
Yeah, but he's not a mutant. You know what I mean? That's actually why they've said that Forge is not an Omega level mutant, because while he does build awesome stuff, his mutant power does not exceed that which has already been reached or could possibly be reached by an individual.
Hickman established what is the current definitive definition of an Omega level mutant, which is that you have no power ceiling.
Yeah.
You have a power that cannot be surpassed in that field. Like, you couldn't possibly manipulate the magnetic field better than Magneto.
And that's the importance of this, in my opinion, because when they brought up the Omega level mutants, they made a huge deal about saying that Franklin was an Omega level mutant.
Yeah, the only one who was affiliated with humans.
Side. Yeah, he wasn't affiliated.
There were several Omega mutants who did not have an affiliation, but Franklin was notably the only one who was allied with humanity.
Exactly. And that's a big problem for Krakoa and for humanity.
Yeah. That being said, before all this, before House of X started up, hardly anyone ever mentioned Franklin being a mutant that I can remember. It's never been that big of a part of his character before, at least
I
not
tend
a
to agree
lot.
with you. I mean, if you remember the Fantastic Four X-Men, I'm sure you read that, the recent one.
They
And
reference back to a story that I'm sure did make a big deal about that,
Exactly.
but I'd never read that. I didn't know it existed.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. So, I mean, and it is what it is. He was built up early on to be a big deal. You know how much Hickman loves the Fantastic Four.
Franklin
wanted to
is one of
see
those
more there.
characters. Future Franklin is the most powerful, omnipotent character in the universe.
At the end of the universe, it's him and Galactus kicking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But current continuity, Franklin always has to have the kid locks on because
Kryptonite.
he breaks the fucking story.
He's kryptonite. He always gets some sort of kryptonite.
Yeah.
Dude. I don't like it.
In a lot of ways, it's way.
But I don't like it.
Like, from a storyteller's standpoint, I get it. In the way that they're doing it right now, sounds as plausible as anything else you come up with. It's fine.
I like it when they had Leech hanging out with them all the time. That was
a good solution.
That was
I like
rad.
that one.
That was really rad.
That was a good solution Hickman came up with.
Yeah, that was really rad.
But Franklin has it worse than Superman in a lot of ways as far as like breaking the story goes, because as powerful as Superman is, as powerful as the Hulk is, as powerful as Thor is, they can't do literally anything just whenever they feel like it.
They still have rules.
Yeah, they have a defined power set. And
Franklin ain't got no rules.
Yeah, characters like Franklin, and then also characters like Doctor Strange or the Silver Surfer, who
the
can
Molecule Man to an extent.
Molecule Man definitely, but he's not ever like a protagonist, right?
Exactly.
But
yeah, I'm just saying, working from the other direction, Kang in a weird way. You know what I mean? Kang in a way is also that same kind of character.
All these characters who are not only really powerful, but you have no idea how their powers really work. Like, why can't Doctor Strange just turn this thing into a rabbit? Why can't the Silver Surfer just dismantle this thing at the atomic level? Why can't Franklin make it so that this thing doesn't even exist in this universe anymore?
Never existed.
Yeah.
We can make it so that it never exists in this or any other universe.
Unless Franklin is like
all of existence.
Yeah, unless Franklin is going up against like cosmic level entities that can also like reshape the worlds around them, there's no problem he can't solve instantaneously.
Exactly.
So yeah, it makes sense to nerf him.
Awesome. All right, one more bit of news then, before food news. Wonder Woman.
Is this the one about her coming out to HBO Max on Christmas Day?
Yeah.
Also in theaters on Christmas Day.
Both.
Yep.
Pick your poison. Literally. That's nice.
Well, it's still probably not going to be a good idea to go see it in theaters on Christmas.
Unless you're the only one. Unless
you're the only one. If you are like, okay, so for instance, I work at a school, so I could conceivably try to go like at a matinee in the middle of a Tuesday or something when I'm pretty sure I'm going to be the only one around.
Yeah.
But
I'm not going to.
It's not a risk. Even that is not a risk-free proposition.
I get HBO Max for free. I'm watching it on HBO Max. Hopefully they have a Roku app by then, damn it. Because
yeah. On the one hand, I am glad to be able to see these things, but you already know that I enjoy going to the movie theaters. If I had the option of watching Black Widow or something on Disney Plus, I think I might still wait for it to come out in theaters if I knew that was going to happen. Sure. If it's like, here's it is on Disney Plus, the theatrical release is a wash, here it is. I'm going to watch it then, of course. Yeah. But if I knew that eventually it's going to be in theaters anyway, I might still wait. I just enjoy going to the theaters.
Would not. I think this is...
I get that. I'm not saying that...
a test bed for the future of media in a way. You know what I mean?
We're saying that a lot now. Disney already did that themselves with the Mulan release, which I assume did not go as well as they had hoped.
It did not.
Otherwise, surely they'd be doing the same thing with Black Widow and all these other movies they got in the can and ready to go.
Now, they have announced that Disney is reportedly thinking about moving a lot of their movies to the streaming service instead of a theatrical release.
They're doing that with like Soul, that new Pixar movie.
Yeah. Soul is another big test for them. They're also thinking like a lot of their live action remakes that they have in the pipe. They're just going to push those.
Honestly, that might be a good way to do that anyway. With a lot of those,
Yeah, some of their live action remakes aren't as
I
great
don't know,
as the
man.
animated ones.
Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King. These movies made billions of dollars worldwide.
yeah, well, that's true. That these
saying.
things,
They're
regardless
leaving
of
money on the table. They're leaving money
as
on
much
the table.
as people like to shit on these things fucking work from Disney's
Dude, Aladdin
perspective.
was amazing. I'm sorry,
liked
it
it.
was amazing.
See, okay,
I loved it.
I know it
have
came out.
liked most of the ones that I've seen.
Yeah.
I thought that Beauty and the Beast was pretty good.
Yeah,
I
like
thought
Beauty
that
and the
Aladdin was pretty good. I thought that
I love
Lion King was the
I was off
exact
the hook.
same movie, but
Yeah, I was off the hook
I'll
with Aladdin.
be-
I couldn't believe it. I'm
I'll be
singing
honest
along.
with you.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the live action remakes of these except for maybe Alice in Wonderland.
I don't think that counts.
that doesn't
Does
even count.
I
I'm
think
sure
it was like one of the first ones, wasn't it?
that was a long time ago, brother.
Yeah.
I guess you could count that, but
I did see Onward on
That doesn't
streaming.
count either.
Well, it
What are
came
you
out in
talking
theaters
about?
like right before
Yeah.
COVID.
yeah.
I've seen Onward too. It was good.
It's
It was
really
good.
good.
I mean, it's Pixar, so like the worst they ever do is like B-.
Yeah, at least. I mean,
And that might even be lowballing it a bit.
right. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, Cars 2 is probably the worst, and I love Cars 2 so much. It's
I've never
so
seen that
Not,
one,
I have not seen Cars 2.
It's rad, dude.
Is
Anyway,
there
let's
Cars
move on.
3? Because I haven't seen that either.
The one
No.
that most people
Yeah.
shit on that I saw and I thought was actually pretty good was Good Dinosaur.
Oh,
Good
that's okay.
Dinosaur is really good.
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah.
All right, food news. Pepsi is already gross, but now they're
Apple
making it
pie.
even grosser by making apple pie Pepsi.
That's
don't get-
only slightly better than the gravy Mountain Dew thing you guys were saying earlier.
Oh,
Turkey and gravy.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Now you can't buy this. You have to enter to win, so there's probably none left. But hey, keep going. Hashtag Pepsi apple pie, and maybe they'll.
Now
That's
there's a
That's
there's
a prize for a contest? That's like I've never seen a contest where someone was punished so much.
I
for
know,
winning.
right?
or somebody just like really gross stuff.
I've never thought of apple flavored cola, I guess, but
Apple flavored
I don't
cola
know.
is actually really good. Like Sindel.
But-
Sounds disgusting.
like
man.
apple is like an additive to an existing flavor, though.
It's apple
No.
pie.
Yeah.
It's different.
It is different. It'll
Okay,
have like
I assume the
cinnamon-
main flavor is
cinnamon-
apple.
But yeah, I mean, I guess, but I don't know. There's cinnamon and
David
crust
maybe I'm
in
just
there. There's other flavors you have to work on.
Well, I'll tell you.
Tell
There
me.
is. There's one of those powder mixes that you can add to water from a company called Liquid IV. That is apple pie. That is actually surprisingly really good.
On that note, all right. I wish Adam was here because
Adam was here.
X-Men.
The real moment of destruction today is David destroying my opinion of him by saying that thing he just said. But either way,
The Ultimate Expanse coming March 21st. This is an X-Men Transformers.
He shouldn't be able. He
Crossover.
should have like his eyes squinting or something. He shouldn't have his eyes open.
Why would he be squinting?
That's Cyclops.
I know he has
Oh,
the
yeah.
shades that come down, but he's also
he's got Wolverine's
Psylocke.
claws, he's got Psylocke's sword, he's got
Yeah,
Cyclops'
Cable.
visor.
pouches.
Well, if that's like the '90s cartoon X-Men, the pouch. There's all bets are off with the pouch
That's
situation.
the
It
Jim
does
Lee
matter.
X-Men. Yeah.
It does feel like a 90s sort of thing.
Does it come
Um,
with the Wolverine and Sabretooth?
I
It does.
think
It
so.
comes with those little. That's
That's
worth
neat.
it alone. For
They're
me.
Power Masters.
It does cost $65.
That's like a Voyager class commander.
Yeah.
That's actually less than I would have guessed that they charged for it.
No,
not that I'm
not
saying
me.
it's worth $65. I'm saying I'm surprised they didn't go at least 100 for this.
Oh,
well,
no,
like
me.
Skylinks from Earthrise is around $60.
He's 3 pieces though, and he's huge.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. They're gonna bump the price up a little bit because it's the crossover and they need to make their money. But Hasbro already has a really strong relationship with Marvel, so this is really low hanging fruit in my opinion. It sucks it took us this long to get it, but damn, $65 is a lot.
Are there others?
That,
Or
that is pretty
the-
cool, though.
Oh yeah, it's pretty rad. That's pretty rad that they're doing.
Is that the only one, or is there others?
That's it,
That's it.
brother?
Oh
That's it.
man. Because
All right.
I mean,
Man, cutting David off is making become my favorite.
Yeah, you are moving us right along today.
You haven't.
Okay, Ten of Swords or Kiss of Swords, whatever you're into. Let's start off with 10 Force. I mean X Force. Number 14, Ben Percy, Gary
10
Duggan,
men.
Okay.
Joshua
So this is the
Cassara.
only one that they still had in the shop when I got there.
Oh, that sucks, man.
But
We start off with a pretty okay fight between Pog and Magic, even though it really doesn't carry much weight in terms of the
it
outcome.
wasn't. But it is kind of neat to see like Pog is basically the Wizard of Oz type situation we got going on, where he's just like
he's like
this
a
puny
man.
little he's this puny little dumpy guy who's just inside of a giant mech alligator, basically.
But they didn't. I mean, it was cool to see. I'm not saying that, but it didn't have as much of a punch as it would have otherwise had if we'd have gotten maybe a bit more story. I don't even know if that would have helped.
Well, yeah, that kind of go ahead and jump the gun here a bit and say that this issue and some of the ones from last week have really been basically a bunch of clip shows.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll get into it. Things get terrible. There's rock pushing contests. There's eating contests, foot races, swimming. There's a fashion contest.
This
There's
is
a
like
fucking dance contest.
this is like this just like a county fair. You just need
Okay,
a pie eating
so-
contest.
back when this was all starting, we talked about how we were expecting a shonen anime tournament arc.
Soul
But
Calibur
this is basically just Saturnine.
trolling everyone.
Yeah, like whatever whimsical thing is popping into her head, that's what we're doing now.
One particularly fun one out of here though was between Logan and the White Sword, where they both had to look into a mirror.
That was pretty cool.
And they saw one by one every person that they had ever killed. And the first one to break
Ooh.
emotionally lost. And just a tear running down Logan's face was
It.
just perfect. Yeah. Kill the Kitten was a fun one, too. That was a contest
Yeah. Like
between War
a lot of this-
and Brian.
a lot of it is fun. So if you can like recalibrate your expectations for like what we thought this was going to be, there's fun to be had, especially I guess like by the nature of it just being like a rapid fire, like fire hose of different contests that they're throwing at us here.
Yeah.
Some of them are bound to be good.
And we should have known. We should have known Saturnine, was going to troll us. We should have known. We should have known.
It
I mean,
sounds like this is like the Bill and Ted bogus journey where Death just wants to keep winning. So it's like best out of 5 and best out of 7.
No, we'll get to that because that was a great moment, and it's wonderful that y'all haven't read it because I'll get to spoil you on it. But then at the end of this one, we get a one-on-one between Death and Storm.
That was definitely a highlight.
very well done. Storm's
Yeah.
still drunk from her drinking contest with Logan.
Yeah, so she's powerless and
But
a bit
she still
tipsy.
owns him.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
It
a
shows-
cool line. Like, you think it's not my power that makes me strong.
it's
And
wonderful, dude.
That was some
Wonderful.
cool moments. It was a cool Storm moment. It was a pretty cool fight. That being said, Death being one of their top guys getting taken out by a powerless Storm does a little bit diminish how threatened we're supposed to feel by these Araco guys now.
True,
But-
but sticking with the theme that Saturnine has pushed on everyone, she did kind of sort of just reflect his power back at
Yeah.
him through
I can't believe
cheap
no one
trick,
has ever tried that before.
a mythology trick. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
You guys ain't got the story of the whatever her name is.
Medusa, the
yeah,
Gorgons.
Medusa. What the hell? I don't
But,
know. Maybe not. Maybe they don't.
But I guess there was a conversation in the middle of this between Captain Avalon and Saturnine that I think is kind of giving away the game here, where like he's pointing out to her, "You're just rigging all these fucking contests to get me to like come begging back to you," and that probably is just what's going on here.
I mean, possibly, and again, we'll get to it because the last 2 issues you guys didn't get a hold of. Things do take kind of a different change in terms of the scoring and things that happen. But anyway,
I'll go ahead
Hellions,
and line those down.
Hellions number 6, Zeb Wells, Carmen Nunos Conero. Issue number 5 was the beginning of this team's adventure to go to Otherworld and try to steal the swords of the Iraqis before the thing began. So they're forced to forfeit. This was actually the end of that adventure. So we miss everything that happens in the middle. Havoc's missing an eye. Like everybody's just, have this terrible adventure. But we miss all the middle again. But it turns out that Sinister played everybody, the Quiet Council, his own teammates, just so that he could go and get his hands on some new mutant DNA. Because that's like his thing, you know?
That is a very sure move.
Yeah, it was an action-packed issue. It did introduce this character here, Tarn. That's the dude in the middle here. And his team of the Locust Vile, which are just a bunch of mutants who he's chosen to undergo all kinds of crazy. He's sort of like their version of Mr. Sinister.
I was about to say,
in a way.
yeah.
Yeah. But his name is Tarn, which is why I need Adam Normal here, because this is Tarn. This is the only Tarn in comics, damn it, from Transformers. This Tarn will never be heard from again because he's a mutant in this stupid event. Anyway, Cable number 6. This is where everything changes. Gary Duggan and Phil Noto. This opens on the Quiet Council as the governmental body contemplates Krakoa losing this contest. And they're like, okay, what is our next move if we lose? Because Sinister comes back and says, no, we're losing. It's going to be done. We're screwed. It's over. So then they go back to Otherworld, and Cable is fighting Bay the Blood Moon. Cable loses because he's young and inexperienced. He has Bay the Blood Moon right where he wants him, and bam. He looks over at Doug, over at Cypher, and he's like, I can't do this to my buddy. And then Bay gets to jump on him, boom. He loses. Anyway, just gets his arm broken. So then he telepathically links to Mom and Dad. To Scott and Jean, and they're like, okay, Dad, Mom, Krakoa's down like 18-6. Okay, we're gonna lose. You guys need to do something. And here's their talk. Scott, let's go fix this. So finally, the X-Men, the King and Queen of the X-Men, are finally getting their shit together. They're gonna go take care of business. But anyway, then it comes down. This is where it gets awesome.
Late entry substitutions.
It comes down to Gorgon versus the White Sword, right? And the White Sword sits down and says, you know what? Yeah, you can fight me, but first you got to fight all 100 of my army. So Gorgon just starts tearing these dudes apart, right? Ripping them, just kicking their asses. So then he gets, I don't know, a dozen or so in, and the X-Men side, the Krakoan side, tells Saturnine, okay, are we going to let this stop now? Is this enough? And she's like, well, by my count, he's just earned you guys 13 points by killing the White Sword. Yeah, so they just catch up Gorgon. So then the White Sword's like, nah, this is over. But, dude, the White Sword offers Gorgon a choice. He's like, I can heal you now and you can become one of my army, or I can just end you. And he's like, I end me. And he ends him. Gorgon's dead, which we all predicted, I think, at the beginning of this. Right? Apocalypse makes this comment, said that's how a mutant dies. It's all very honorable and heroic, but it's all tied up.
Yeah, I mean, Gorgon sounds like the real MVP of the team right now.
Oh shit, the real MVP. Yeah, he kicks some major ass, and now of course it's down to, and they even said Saturnine's like, okay, and now and Apocalypse is like, we know what's next, and it's him versus Genesis Annihilation, teased for the next issue, which is next week, the last week of Ten of Swords, with X-Men number 15, Excalibur number 15, and Ten of Swords Destruction number 1.
Ooh.
Overall, a pretty damn good week, man.
Yep.
Hickman don't do nothing without a purpose.
Yeah.
Araki isn't going anywhere. Araco or whatever, it's not going anywhere. I really think it's going to be around for the long haul. I think by the end of this, everybody's going to make peace.
Well, I mean, this is the Hickman MO, right? Is like to introduce this threat and then have it be kind of like pulled into the background for it to come back again later at some point.
Here's all the fights. Let me actually get rid of the banner so we can see it all. These are all the fights. This is how everybody got scored. All right. Battle of the First Kill, Iska the Unbeaten versus Captain Britain, and then on and on. Trial by Wedding, they each earned a point, and Contest of Arms, which was the arm wrestling, Race to the Death, which is the first one to die, and just on and on. All of the different fights. I've got the second one here. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. 100-1, the White Sword versus Gorgon. Look, and he catches up from 18-6 to 19-19.
Wow.
So, yeah, very cool, man, that they have this in there as well, because it was all kitten killing. So stupid, but I loved it. So anyway, yeah, that's that. Great event so far, man. Really fun crossover. I'm really happy. minute. So let's get on to the I'll go first this week. If there's no objections. Adam's not here.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm telling what he read. Awesome. Honorable mention, Stillwater #3 by Zdarsky and Spicer. Still a great series. Fun horror book over at Image Comics. Venom #30, Donny Cates and Luke Roth. A solid wrap to the Beyond Venom arc that's sort of been going on. It feels like, way too freaking long. But still getting hype, man. For Null. Null's still coming eventually. I got a lot of shout outs. Once in Future #13, Kieran Gill and Dan Moore. This is a modern day Arthurian adventure about a professor and his grandma. Continues to hit all the right notes. Just spot on writing, great art. The Green Knight shows up at the end of this one. Are you reading that, Taylor? Once in Future #13, or Once in Future from Boom Studios?
I do like me some Kieran Gillen, but that is
I think
another
you like
one
this
of it.
because you're like an Arthurian. I mean, you're not a big fan of Arthurian legend, but you understand it, you know it, and
Sure.
I think you get a lot out of that book. Yeah, it's a great series. You should check it out. Also wanted to mention Sea of Sorrows #1 by Rich Dewick and Alex Cormack. IDW with a really good creator-owned horror comic. A group find a bunch of Nazi gold on a submarine, and of course, there's also a sea monster. Had really good art, a lot of potential there. But my #3. I know you've all been patiently waiting. Star Trek Voyager 7's Reckoning #1. Dave Baker, Angel Hernandez. A solid debut issue as Voyager finds a ship full of aliens, obviously, who have been in cryostasis for like 1,000 years. They bust them out. But there's like this weird class system where there's like a servant class. And some members of the population are revolting, getting ready for a revolt, and Seven's sort of caught in the middle of it. Dude, I just really like these characters. Voyager is my favorite Star Trek series. I know it's not the best one. DS9 is probably the best. It's always arguable.
DS9 is great.
But Voyager is my favorite.
I always stand Next Generation.
I know. And there's great arguments for both TNG and Deep Space Nine. But I think we can all agree that Voyager is not the best. But it's still my favorite. I just love those characters. They feel like family, and it was really fun to revisit them and to have some time with them again. So, #3, Star Trek Voyager, 7's Reckoning.
Okay, I guess we should just go clockwise.
Yeah, go ahead,
here.
Dale. Go ahead.
For my honorable mentions, I'm gonna do X-Force #14. I did not like the clip show presentation for most of the contests going on here, but that last fight between Storm and Death really carried the issue for me. So
Agreed.
really enjoyed that.
I love Storm. I love Storm.
Like Storm being a bad bitch is always a fun thing to see.
Yup.
Batman #103, I'll give an honorable mention to. Mostly because of how they're writing Harley. I really like Harley in this issue more so than most of the other stuff that's going on. There was like a cool line about how, like, don't worry, I'm not going to kill him. I'm just going to tie him up so that we can send him into our broken justice system, like you heroes do.
Yeah. I actually posted that to Outright Geekery.
I think I saw that.
Page,
but
the interaction between Harley and Clown Killer was pretty good.
Yeah. Whatever.
Hunter.
I actually did not care for the art. There were two different artists on this, and it kind of messed with me. Both artists were great. I did not like Harley just monologuing. She monologued a little bit too long for my taste.
Yeah.
But the fight between Ghostmaker and Batman, when they're talking about the different methods for how they actually do their vigilantism, was rad, dude. It was
like, it does show
good.
that like Ghostmaker might be more like effective, but Batman gets ultimately better results because he actually cares about the people in the city.
I'll give you an example. Ghostmaker busts up an arms deal coming to Gotham, but Batman had already been there and switched out the bullets because he wanted to find everyone involved.
Yeah,
he was playing a longer game.
Yeah,
it really showed the detective angle of Batman.
And he was,
you know what I mean?
He was shadowing a serial killer instead of just busting him here and now because he wanted to know where the bodies were so that all the families involved would have closure. So, I liked all that aspect to it. The thing I liked the most about this issue, though, was how several characters were shitting all over Ghostmaker's name because that is a stupid, stupid
That
name.
was a running joke throughout the whole.
Yeah, like Harley and I think Clown Hunter were
They
both
both
like,
did. They both
your
did.
name is incredibly stupid.
Clown Hunter had like a big long bubble about it, and then they came back to it, and Harley was like, "What's your name?" And he said Ghostmaker. She's like, "Oh, that's a dumb name," and it was just very good comedic timing on Tinyan's part to match those two lines of dialogue up. Yeah,
That's some stuff I liked about this.
Good.
I also another honorable mention. I'll do Fantastic Four number 26. I'm digging the artwork by R.B. Silva in these issues, especially, and I like what they're setting up. I like that there's some callbacks to the beginning of this run with Dan Slott. And there's a lot of really cool storytelling potential about the Fantastic Four being able to go anywhere and everywhere in the universe, because that's kind of their whole shtick in the first place.
Yeah.
So really enjoyed this. For my actual number 3, though, I'm going to do Immortal Hulk number 40.
Nice.
These issues keep finding ways to one-up themselves with the body horror angle of all this. In this one, okay, so we get another peek into Banner's mindscape, where the last two left standing at the moment are Savage Hulk, the Child Hulk, and also Joe Fixit. But Joe is stuck in like a human body. So Guy Rich, that asshole government guy who shows up from time to time in Marvel Comics, is here, and he's being a dick, of course. And he's like, "Don't even try to turn back into Banner because these things will shift size with you." And like, Joe Fixit's like, oh, he doesn't know how this works now, and so he just explodes out of the Hulk's stomach to beat up the guards in the room.
Man. I saw those pages. People were really
it's like his stomach. Basically, the Hulk looked like he was giving birth, because like he comes out. I think he even has like an umbilical cord on his stomach when he comes out, or at least like
just birth for now.
Like or at least Hulk's intestines like look like that. Almost.
It's almost like the Hulk giving birth to himself, dude.
Yeah, that's exactly
it's kind of
what
meta that way
I'm
too.
Certain that's what they were going for.
Yeah, and the story is kind of meta like that in a way too, where the Banner kind of gave birth to the Hulk. Yeah, it's very well done. I actually didn't read this, but I did read about it.
Well,
I'm reading these in trade. I want to collect these in trade.
I always pick these when they come out. I love this series. We also got some cool stuff with Doc Sasquatch, where Doc Samson is in Sasquatch's body now.
It's weird, dude. It's so weird.
It's weird. It's great, weird in the best way.
It's so weird.
We also are starting to kind of have the end game start to formalize like completely, where like everyone's like, oh, by the way, it's the leader doing all this, and he's the one who did that shit down in like Ohio or wherever it was we were.
Yeah.
And there's also, I think, something I like where like Banner is, or not Banner, sorry, Joe Fixit escapes by like just shooting out a window in the space station and just like falling back to Earth and turning into the Hulk as he goes so that he can survive it.
Yeah, that's an old Hulk thing too. An old Hulk, like a tropey Hulk thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like cool. I like how Absorbing Man points out that like, wait, so we are in a space station where one bullet can break these windows and send us out into space.
And there's Hulks all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I quit. I don't know if he actually quit because Titania seemed to talk him out of it, but anyway, I always love these issues. It's a great series. It probably would read better if you like wait for them to come out in trade, but I've been picking up all the issues and I've never regretted it. So
I bought the first 3 issues and they were great and everybody was talking about it, and then I missed an issue. And then I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to wait and get them in trade.
I missed an issue at one point. It was sold out before I got there. And it was a big issue, too. It was the one where they were having like a confrontation in hell.
Yeah. But mine was issue. I'm pretty sure it was issue number 4 or 5 that I missed out on. And it was even on my list. And I was like, just take it off. I'll just read them in trade. Awesome. David, number 3.
Honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah. Honorable mentions. Sorry.
Die number 13, solely because of the fight scene between the Obama character and a guy that shows up at the news conference to holler at him.
It wasn't even a fight. It wasn't even a fight. mouth battle. It was so
it was
weird, dude.
It was this moment of zen where the guy was throwing punches and Obama was basically deflecting him like a kung fu master.
It was
And in
weird,
the
dude.
end of it, Obama bear hugs the guy and basically says that I want you to realize why I'm
love
holding
you.
you. I love you.
Weird, dude.
Now, if you're done fighting me, maybe we can
Yeah.
get together and do something about this whole tragedy.
It
Are
was
we
odd.
okay?
It was odd.
It was odd, but that was like one of the most zen moments in this book.
I
And
liked
this
how
book
they
is,
got
like,
to.
super violent.
I liked how they got to what's her name, and she was like, "Yeah, I did all these terrible things.
Yeah,
but for
I
all
did
the
all
right
these-
reasons."
yeah.
Oh, so great.
She
Anyway, yeah,
faced,
go
like,
ahead.
the consequences of her actions.
We could talk about that book forever. It's so awesome.
A book from Scout Comics called The Recount, which it's my honorable the other honorable mention because it's a little bit timely, kind of.
It's on my list if you want to wait.
Surely they must have planned that like months ago. That is like outrageous timing.
It's amazing.
It is.
Dude.
Yeah, we can talk about it, but
yeah, let's talk about it when I talk about it because it's very high on my list.
Oh yeah, it's an honorable mention. It's my second honorable mention. My number 3 pick of the week is Bad Mother number 4.
I didn't read this one.
Oh my gosh, this is basically she confronts her daughter's kidnapper in a diner and tells her, like, I'm a mother, you're a mother, and mothers will do anything for their children. And if you could just, if you would just come to an understanding and return my child to me, we could go on with our lives. And the criminal mastermind is just like, no. And she sends her son and another goon to go after the bad mother. And it's one of the most brutal fights in a kitchen with like utensils being used.
Oh, wow.
It ends
this was the money shot. This was the shot they were waiting on.
This was the money.
This fight.
Yes, this fight.
Straight out of Kill Bill.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of that, where the guy shows she's like looking at stuff in the mirror and she kind of knows something's happened because her cell phone has like an app where she can monitor like her daughter's movements, and like it alerts her that her daughter's window is open. So she's sitting there, and all of a sudden you see in the mirror the guy's got a what is it? He's got something he's going to try to strangle her with. It's the garrote, I think it's called.
Okay,
yeah.
And
Sure.
it just ends. That's when it starts this fight that just carries from one bedroom to the kitchen, and there's rolling pins and wooden spoons and knives and stuff being used.
I have to go back and check that out.
Oh my gosh! But in the end of it, she ends up killing her assailant, grabs the crime boss's son, and is essentially set up an exchange. The crime boss's son for the return of her daughter.
Nice. It's sort of like Taken, but with a mom.
Yeah, it's sort of like Taken, because like the previous issue, she like blew up a meth lab.
She has no training.
Yeah, she's
weird.
I just like, I've been deceived by this book, and I love
like
it.
If my old lady started just doing ninja shit, it'd be weird.
Yeah,
like, because I've known her for 30 years. It'd be weird if she started doing ninja stuff. How did I not know you knew ninja stuff? I don't know. This book's weird.
It's great. I love it.
Good art.
AWA can do no wrong at the moment.
My number 2, Marvel's Indigenous Voices #1. Jeffrey Vereggi, Rebecca Roanhorse, and others. Weshayot Alavitre and others did some art in it. I got this cover. Nice Jeffrey Vereggi with Danny Moonstar on it. This was the first page.
Is the whole book like that?
No. This is 3 different stories, bookended by an afterword and these couple of pages where the Watcher just starts talking about all of the Native American and indigenous characters in Marvel Comics. And these are all of them right here. And they each get like a little paragraph or whatever. But the whole book is cool like this, man. It was really well put together. It's unique art styles throughout the whole thing, solid storytelling. And something comics need a whole lot more of, not just, a small promotional piece like this. It had a great story with Echo that also had a Loki angle that I'm hoping to see more of. It also had some American Sign Language used in there. That was from Rebecca Roanhorse and Alvitre. It had a good Danny Moonstar story from Darcy Little Badger and Kyle Charles that ended up getting into Native American and Krakoan diplomatic relations, which was freaking amazing, which was so dope. And then it had a Silver Fox story set in the past with a lot of historical nods to things that happened to Native Americans, atrocities, basically. But also from the real world and Marvel history, mostly Wolverine, which was a huge perk for me. That was by Stephen Graham Jones and David Cutler. This was a great issue. If you can find it, you should pick it up. It was wonderful. Marvel needs to do more of these and get more eyes on these creators, man. Jeffrey Vareggi is awesome. Rebecca Roanhorse can write a damn story. They need to give her an Echo story right now. It was so well done. And yeah, we got 10 X books, man. Give one to a person of color. Come on. Quit it. Taylor, number 2.
For my number 2, I actually did Catwoman number 27.
Oh.
This is a book I did not actually expect to be buying, but they had actually put not one, but 2 copies of it into my pull box this week. Different covers. So I'm flipping through. It's like, the art looks pretty decent on this. I'll go ahead and give it a shot. But I put the variant issue back on the shelf. And
you didn't buy both?
No, I did not buy both.
I don't do that either.
But I'm glad I picked it up. It was a lot of fun. It was basically telling a heist story, which, appropriate enough for Catwoman, where they set up a takedown of these guys doing a drug deal, where you get to see like all the steps of the plan coming out and how they're like bamboozling and making off with the goods and setting them up to take the fall at the end anyway, even though they took the drugs. And
nice.
I think she ended up like turning them over to the police at the end by like tipping off a cop that she had like stashed them and a bunch of gang members inside of like a storage unit somewhere.
Nice.
So
Catwoman's going to be big again here soon.
Maybe.
December 1st, that Batcat book come out.
Oh, that's true. But I always enjoy these little self-contained stories where there's nothing like big stakes going on as far as I can tell. Although there was some like weird assassin dude who showed up at the end who quotes scripture and whatnot. But, like you do, I guess.
A first appearance. Go for it.
It might not have been. I have not read any of the previous issues in this run, but I enjoy these little one and done, quick and dirty, just fun stories.
Sure, everybody should. They should do those more. Remember when annuals used to be those?
Yeah.
And now they're like required reading for the run, and it just sort of ruins the whole.
It's the 13th issue in a year.
Fun. Yeah, ruins the fun for it. Good choice though. Out of left field. Taking Adam's spot. He always.
It was out of left field for me too, because like I said, I was not walking into the shop expecting to get it. But
nice. Number 2, David.
Number 2 is going to be Grendel, Kentucky, another AWA title.
Oh, geez, you and the AWA books.
Oh my gosh! They Grandpa finally reveals the reason why they went from coal mining to marijuana farming. Is because he was trapped in the coal mine when there was a collapse, and the creature was in the mine when it collapsed and fed on the people.
Wants the chronic.
No, that creature ate the people, and because it ate the people, it was replenished, and the land was replenished because of it. And so they basically carried on this tradition for years that his son carried on until one day his son was just like, the father was like, no, I'm going to go kill this creature and put an end to this. And now we have biker gangs and other gang members basically going on a hunt for Grendel, the Grendel creature. But they can't
grow their weed without the Grendel.
They don't grow their weed without the Grendel, but the lives that are being cost in Grendel, Kentucky is more than they're willing to pay for now, because it's at a certain point, it used to be like homeless people, hobos, and tramps, and people who were already with one foot in the grave is how it was described. So with the biker gangs, they go after the Grendel. They succeed in wounding it and chasing it back to the cave, but they don't finish the job. And and while they celebrate at the bar, it comes back bigger than before and is killing everybody.
Nice.
And that's where it leaves
weed
off
this year.
Yeah,
it'll be a good crop.
Good crop.
I will say though, when you originally said why they switched from coal mining to growing weed, honestly, it seems like the fiscally responsible thing to do, regardless of any mystical circumstances.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes, that is true.
Legalize it.
That is true in today's circumstances, but we're being told a story that goes back at least 2 generations.
Yeah, this is
Okay, sure.
It's not set in modern day, is it?
It's set in modern day.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
weed legal, bro.
Yeah,
That's the responsible thing to do. Would be
Yeah.
to grow weed instead of coal mining.
yep.
Grendel or no Grendel,
Grendel or no
like
Grendel.
Taylor said. Awesome. I'm moving on. My number 1 book of the week, The Recount. Number 1.
Woo!
Dow Comics, Jonathan Hedrick and Gabrielle Ibarra Nunez. I'm just going to read the solicitation because this is all you need to know. After the assassination of the U.S. president, the conspirators turned their sights on all who helped him get into power.
And this is everybody.
By this, they mean to kill everyone who helped him ascend to the presidency, including the ordinary citizens who elected him,
Yes.
essentially plunging the country into civil war. So the vice president, who is now the president, is one of the few remaining survivors, struggles to prevent the nation from descending into chaos. That's exactly what happened. So the president is on the stage saying that he's quitting because he's a terrible person. He's committed all these crimes, and then he's murdered.
And he's murdered not by anybody, but by the Secret Service
by
agent.
a Secret Service agent. So then they go to the vice president in her bunker, and she's like, no, I need to make a statement to the country. The country needs to know what's going on. Halfway through her statement, a guy comes on there like a terrorist or something and says, no, this is what's going to happen. And lays it out saying, we're going to we're going to kill everybody who helped this president get to ascendancy, his donors, his friends, his political allies, and yes, the people who voted for him. And yeah, we know who did because we have access to social media. We can hack the TV and show you what we're showing now. Trust us, we can hack the social media. Go ahead and delete your posts. We already know who it was. So then it goes back to the vice president in the bunker, and one of her Secret Service men are like, for the country, and goes to shoot her.
Not the country, the masses. They say
for the masses. He says for the masses, and goes to shoot her. And her like personal protector blows him away. She's like, all right, Mr. or Miss Madam President, we got to get out of here. So that's how it starts, dude.
That is
so poignant, so timely. But maybe it's always poignant and always timely. We're just not quite sure how everything went. Man, Jonathan Hedrick has his pulse on the, his thumb on the pulse of everything going on right now, to a very, very far degree. I still don't think we're where this book is, but metaphorically speaking, yes, we are exactly where this book is. You know what I mean? And holy crap, I was blown away by this. I couldn't believe how good it was.
It's great. The artwork is actually pretty good in this too.
Yeah, it's kind of got a little grainy, worked on, unpolished sort of look to it. And yeah, great characters, great premise. I'm excited to see where it goes, man. Great issue. The Recount.
Yeah, and they're like, we have our recount.
Yeah, that's one of the lines they say. We have our recount. We know who's won, and we're going to take everybody out. So they got people on the inside.
Yeah, it's like, houses with flags flying, and their version of a red hat and all that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
They're like people watching this broadcast by this guy that intercepted the signal. We were like, oh shit.
He's like, oh shit. Yeah. Taylor, number 1 book of the week.
My number 1 actually has kind of like a similar, like, timely essence to it, but for entirely different reasons. Mine was actually Captain America number 25.
Oh.
The main story. Yeah, the main story by Ta-Nehisi Coates and Leonard Kirk doing the artwork. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was kind of a continuation of what was in the last several issues. But the reason why this is my number 1 is actually because of the backup story by Michael Cho and Anthony Falcone.
Nice.
It's the story of Captain America actually speaking at the funeral of a guy who he apparently had first met when he came out of the ice and had struck up a friendship with. The dude was an immigrant who was working in the diner, even though he had a law degree because he couldn't find a job anywhere. And it's just Cap telling the story of how this guy worked his ass off to get his law degree all over again so that he could support his family while also still making time for his family. And they actually have a conversation in there kind of about America and the American dream. I think it was really timely for the moment. And basically they go on. Cap's like having one of those moments where he's like super disillusioned. I don't know which specific story it was supposed to be reaction to. Maybe Secret Empire or something from back in the day.
Okay.
But
just before this run.
Oh no, I'm talking about the thing like back in like the 70s. When Cap,
not Secret Empire then. I think you said Secret
You're thinking
Empire.
of Secret Wars.
Secret Wars.
Secret Empire was the thing where Captain America like was going through all these people who were like embedded in the U.S. government, and at the end it turns out Nixon was the head of it.
Oh, that?
Yeah. It was just before Cap became Nomad.
Oh, well, that was Secret Empire?
I think so.
That's like mid-90s stuff, ain't it?
Secret What's the one I'm
One of you
thinking
just
of when he
fucking look it up while I go through this, whatever.
When he becomes not Nazi Cat. Nazi Cat.
That's Hidden Empire, isn't it?
That's Secret something, isn't it?
So
Sorry, Taylor. Go ahead. No, it's not important. It's not important. Go ahead, Taylor.
I'll look it up after I'm done talking about it.
He was referring to the Nomad thing where it was Nixon.
The point is that Captain America was like speaking to this guy about when he was at a time of disillusionment, and there's a really poignant conversation they have about how, yeah, it does suck. It's always sucked for a lot of people that we've always had to struggle as a country between living up to our ideals and facing the reality of our situation.
Wow.
But those ideals are worth striving for. That the founders were imperfect men who lived in an imperfect time, and they had many, many failings, but they did create something that was bigger than them and is worth striving for. And I think that was a pretty cool message coming from Captain America, especially of all people, right?
Right.
He ends the issue talking about how, like, at the end of the day, I don't represent a government, and I don't even represent this country. I represent the ideals this country is supposed to have. His actual words, I represent a dream.
Nice.
So that was a pretty cool, I thought, summation of who Cap is and what he's supposed to stand for. The whole point of the damn character in the first place.
Sort of your quintessential Captain America story.
Yeah.
Anyone can pick it up and get that same out of it.
Yeah, I actually handed this off to my sister to read just the backup, and she hasn't read a damn issue of Captain America, I think, in her lifetime, but she still enjoyed that.
And a lot of times, especially characters like Captain America, Black Panther to an extent, other characters, of course, they do sort of get lost in their own woods.
Yeah,
so to speak, you know, like you said,
I would say Superman probably gets it pretty bad too.
Oh, dude, Superman hadn't been Superman in decades. It really feels that way.
The core of the character, who they really are, it's not something that always jives well with like telling a story with like drama and conflict and things like that. But when they get it right, and every now and then an issue will come along and be like, yeah, that's who this character is. That's why I read this character. That's who they're about. And I think that for me, this backup story and this milestone issue, you know, they got to another divisible by 5 one. Anyway, that to me, this was such a thing for me, and I definitely recommend checking it out. The main story here is pretty good, but if you haven't been reading the run, you'll be completely lost on that.
I have not been excited with Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America.
His Black Panther has been way better than his Captain America.
Agreed, 100%. But I haven't been reading it, but I will find this issue and read that backup story just on your
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
David, number 1 book.
The Hydra Cap was Secret Empire.
Okay,
I thought that's what you had said. So what was the Nomad thing?
I'm not sure what the Nomad thing was.
Well, that was the important part.
Yeah.
It may have been the same thing. They reuse names.
They recycle names or not.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there is a 1974 Secret Empire as well.
There you go.
Really? Okay.
And that was the one where he gets to the end and it's like, you! And like they never show his face, but he's in the Oval Office and it's clearly supposed to be Nixon.
Exactly. And then it's Nomad. After that, he goes all Nomad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great, dude, that's a great run of Captain America.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a wonderful Captain America run. And in the same vein of the thing that you were saying in the backup story, it's like a quintessential, Captain America story. Anyway, David, number one.
Another AWA book.
Oh my, the threefer? The hat
No.
trick?
Nope. It's actually Barbalian, number one, Red Planet number one.
Oh, I did not read this week. I forgot all about
it's
this.
the latest entry. These side stories for the Black Hammer universe.
Not written by Jeff Lemire.
It is written by Jeff Lemire.
The whole thing, he is a co-writer.
Well, this one has Lemire credited here. So let me double check.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's at least a co-writer on it.
Jeff Lemire and Tate Bromball.
Yeah.
All
Sorry,
right.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Of course.
But with Gabriel Hernandez Walta on the art here. This is
didn't he do Vision? Isn't that the guy who did the Vision, the art and Vision?
I think so.
Gabriel Hernandez Walta?
I believe so. I'd have to double check.
Man, Vision number 2 is going for like $80.
Tom King one from a few years ago.
First
Where
appearance
they introduced the family.
First appearance of Vision.
Viv.
Well, the son's dead. The son's dead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. A spoiler alert. Sorry if you haven't read Vision.
Yeah,
sorry for spoiling something from
if
like
you haven't read
4
this
years ago.
3-year-old thing.
At least 3. It's at least 3.
You might be like 5 years old.
Yeah,
now,
dude. Yeah. Go ahead, David. Sorry. I mean, they're fixing to base an entire TV show on at least part of that Tom King run.
Sort of, I guess.
Well, some of it, they're going to be pulling from some of it. Him having that family thing, and I don't know. We haven't seen it. I can't wait, man. That's
it looks rad. I'm looking forward to it.
It looks really cool.
Close.
Yeah. Go ahead, David. Sorry, we keep interrupting your...
What the fuck do you mean we?
I want you to take responsibility with me.
No, because it's you doing it.
You're doing it. Go ahead, David.
All right. So these Black Hammer books, these standalone books, we have Colonel Weird and Cosmogog, and we have this one, which it kind of goes into stuff that has been alluded to in what was the main series before it got all weird with the introduction of the new Black Hammer, and became like a multi-dimensional hopping kind of deal.
I think it was always that they in the first issue they hopped to a different reality.
In the first issue they hopped to it, but when the Black Hammer's daughter arrives on the farm and becomes the new Black Hammer, it goes back to this dimension hopping deal where she's like.
And Colonel Weird is constantly dimension hopping.
Yeah, he's not in phase with reality.
What's his name in Skeleton Boy? Are they in the main continuity? Are they in the old continuity? The new?
I'm not sure where they.
Crazy dude. Jeff Lemire is killing on this. Anyway.
It's a whole crazy universe that I still haven't been able to piece together 100%.
Now he's gay, right?
Yes,
that's
Barbalian,
like a big part of the story.
The story starts off with Barbalian being on trial on Mars, which is essentially they are the red version of John Carter's Martians, Warlord of Mars. Barbalian loved another male. Basically was in a gay relationship and has been sentenced to death because of that. But they are allowing him to basically while remain shackled live out the rest of his days as he sees fit until his execution. Then we get this flashback to his time on Earth because Barbalian was sent to Earth to scout it out and prepare for an invasion,
like Martian Manhunter early.
Like Martian Manhunter was. Well, he's the Black Hammer universe equivalent of the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
But he lives in San Francisco. He lives in San Francisco in the 80s during the height of the AIDS crisis.
Wow.
He's a police officer and he has befriended a local gay activist. And, this very much angered the Martians. And we get this developing relationship.
Are they in constant contact? It's like Mork from Orc.
Something like
home
that
every week or something.
Some Martians showed up and found that he wasn't doing what he was sent to Earth to do.
Okay.
That he was living as a human. He wasn't preparing the Earth for an invasion.
Yeah.
And that he was in love with another male. These are all big no-nos in Martian society. Apparently,
Mars sounds like a drag, bro.
It does. But we get this very intricate story where he's following the gay activist is knows that Barbalian secret identity is the police officer, and he's basically saying that you may have villains to fight, the super villains. You and Abraham Slam and Golden Gale are up there flying around using your superpowers to fight villains on a daily basis, but we have our own fights on the ground here. The average citizen has their fight just for the right to be.
Yeah.
And when we could really use it if somebody with your powers would step in and advocate for us. This gets Barbalian thinking. With his name's Mark Mars, or Mark Marks with a Z.
Yeah.
Which is like John Johns.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it gets him thinking. He kind of like shadows the gay activist and just basically ends up in like this underground gay nightclub. And I guess like there's like that music, like the Steppenwolf or something, that whole that trippy music's playing in my head when I'm reading this.
Nice.
But we go back to Mars, and the Martian emperor or king or the guy in charge, his son basically shows up.
Ming the Merciless.
Ming the Merciless, but his son shows up, and it's like Bose, and he's a bounty hunter, and he wants to go to Earth to find Barbalian, and that's kind of where we leave off on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We had a lot of poignant books this week. That Native American book, the Cap book.
You described the entire issue. So why did you like it? Is kind of
why'd you like it?
I've always been a big fan of the Black Hammer universe, and anything that helps expand it out a little more is something that I will at least look into.
Nice.
Okay.
I mean, and yes, it's dealing with some poignant issues, and if you remember, like I don't know, the whole gay AIDS crisis of the 1980s. I do remember stuff about that. I've listened to some podcasts where it talks about like Reagan's response to it was lackluster.
Oh, here we go.
But I'm
political.
It that interests me from a historical standpoint too.
Nice. And it's Jeff Lemire. You can't go wrong.
It's Jeff Lemire. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Black Hammer.
Yeah.
It's like one of the best things Dark Horse has still.
I mean, it's really one of the only things they have left.
Yeah.
I mean, relatively speaking to what they had even 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was
all the way back to Star Wars,
I think it was a smart move for them to start expanding out to new IPs.
Expanding, all they did was thank God they have Black Hammer. It's like 3 books a month for them.
Yeah. But they have like that think tank and mind management and all that, right?
That's all right. They haven't had a lot of those come out.
But
Taylor.
I was just saying, I agree that there was kind of an unexpected amount of poignancy in the various books this week.
Yeah,
a lot of books.
That's what happens when comics inject something worth talking about.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it because it's relevant, and that's what art should be. And yeah, man, it's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not rocket surgery we're doing here.
Yeah, Gabriel Walta was the artist on the Vision series.
That's like a little trap up here. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. We're going to wrap this bad boy. If you're listening on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, go over to those other 2 platforms, search for Outright Geekery, find us, like us, follow us, and have fun. Tell your friends, share us around, all that stuff. We want to thank everybody else who's involved with our channel, the Comic Book Bullies, Big Willie doing his OK Boomer show, along with the weekly reviews and the Creators Outlet and all that stuff. Stay tuned right here. Soon, I mean, we're going to do our show tomorrow night. Hopefully Adam's, back in business.
You'll have Jules, won't you?
Yeah, we'll have Jules, but
I can't do the weekend show. I can't do shows during the weekdays.
You're fucking useless.
I know. I'm sorry.
But we'll do that show tomorrow when we do all the previews. We're gonna have another Geek Tyrion coming soon. We're gonna have a top 5 come in eventually. I know. I gotta get a finger on that damn thing. I gotta tap that thing down.
So like next week at the earliest, it seems, right?
Next week at the earliest. Yeah. I'm gonna talk to everybody this weekend and see if we want to do it Tuesday. Well, and by this weekend, I mean like Thursday on.
Yeah,
Really long. It's a really long weekend. But most of all, I want to thank these 2 jokers for hanging out with this joker, so we can be the 3 jokers.
Yay!
Awesome. We're gonna do it again next time.
Same geek time, same geek channel.
Wow, very down to earth, normal.
Yeah, that's pretty
Outro,
subdued
yeah.
for you there, David.
Yeah.